Taurus, you are represented by the Nine of Swords and the Ten of Wands. So you are worried about something. It could be you have anxiety that has to do with your job, your career, your work, your responsibilities, the obligations. You may feel overburdened. For some of you, you're worried perhaps about an illness, or you're worried about a health issue. It may tie to your weight. So you are overtaxed in some way. And, maybe, the burden of your anxiety is too much to bear. It could be that maybe you had a conversation or an argument with your partner and it created some kind of anxiety for you. You're going over the dialogue in your head and maybe you have some regret. Maybe something was blown out of proportion. You may be worried about a partner or someone close to you in your life. You're worried about, whether they're suffering in some way, whether that's physically or emotionally. You may be worried about the choices that they're making and whether they're the right ones, to the degree that you begin to try to manage their choices. And that creates some kind of friction in your relationship. For some of you, there's some options available to you. Maybe you're facing some kind of dilemma or challenge and you just can't see what to do because you're attaching so much intensity to it. And you're not taking into consideration some of the options that are before you. Now, these were things perhaps that were on the table that you had put to the side, or you overlooked, or you dare not consider for whatever reason. Could be your pride or based on principle, or it just never occurred to you. But you have more options than you realize. So there's some sense of anxiety that's troubling. It's keeping you, anxious. Maybe you're dealing with some kind of depression or, again, an illness. And the Ten of Wands says that you are struggling. Maybe you are getting some resistance from your partner or a circumstance, or you feel overloaded, or your partner is. So there's some kind of burden that may be unreasonable, maybe unrealistic expectations or demands that are being made. And maybe you've simply taken on too much. You've bitten off more than you can chew and you feel stressed by that, or your partner does. And so you're having to make some decisions. And maybe part of it is, letting some things go, some things that you've been holding on to, or looking at areas of your life that are out of balance, or where you've been putting in a lot of effort, but you're not getting the return or the result that you want with regard to something. So you may have to clear some space. This may be about finding some better balance, or, it could be that you've accomplished something and now the burden of that success is weighing in on you. Maybe you're wondering if, what the motives or the intention is of your partner. So there's some worry and anxiety in connection to a load, a situation. Maybe, you're worried about having to move. Maybe that's part of it. Again, you could be dealing with some kind of resistance, but it's likely that whatever it is, that your imagination has run away with you, that you're attaching more importance to a situation than really exists, that part of the issue is what's going on in your head and in your mind. And it may tie to something being revealed to you that connects to some kind of agreement. Could be a contract or something that you would consider legally binding, a commitment, an obligation. Maybe you're worried about engaging with somebody socially, or a promise was made that's creating some anxiety. Maybe, for some of you, you're anxious to get married. You want a proposal, or you want to, be with your partner, and that's not forthcoming. There's some resistance to that. So you're taking a closer look at a situation and trying to understand what's going on. Now, the romance is characterized by the Five of Coins and the Ten of Coins. So there's a history that you're considering. You want something that provides you some permanence, some stability that lasts into the long term. And maybe there's a lack of faith that that's going to occur, especially if you're focused on getting married or your partner is. You may be dealing with some kind of rejection, or maybe there are issues that impact the relationship that tie to finances, or somebody doesn't have their value system in the right place. There's more of a focus on the material rather than the spiritual. It could be that you're involved in a situation where your relationship has some kind of liability attached to it. Maybe it's good for love, but it's not necessarily good for money. Or perhaps you're involved in some liaison that presents some kind of problem. It's a risky proposition for you to be involved with this person. For some of you, this is about being left out, being put out in the cold. And it may have to do with, some kind of discussion that ties to property or money or investments. Maybe you are being rejected for some kind of loan or credit, or your partner is not willing to discuss money or the future. And so there's some kind of issue. Maybe there's some family problems or marital problems or issues with children. So in the positive, you're looking at a situation and maybe it's not as bad as you thought. Again, you could have been blowing something out of proportion. When you take this assessment, something doesn't cost you as much as you thought it would, whether that is your time, your emotion, your energy, your investment. In other cases, a couple of things simply haven't gone your way. And, maybe there's been a history of that, or a history of, of poverty or rejection, abandonment. You feel like you're not getting what is due to you. And so there could be some power struggles. Maybe you're having to deal with the government or your company or your partner or the family. Something is weighing in on your sense of security and wealth. And you may not feel very strongly or put much stock in what's taking place. Now, this may have to do with trying to create some kind of harmony. Maybe, there's something going on where there is some discord and there's a lack of faith that you're going to be able to create some peace. Or maybe again, you thought something was not going to turn out as well as it has, and things are falling into place. You're ending this struggle. A decision has been made concerning wealth. Maybe there's some parental concerns, or again, issues to do with money or retirement or pension or insurance, or some kind of concern that ties to the security of your future. Now, positively, there may be some kind of lucky circumstance. Could be you end up having some kind of unexpected encounter or surprise that proves to be pleasant, or you get this opportunity where you get to meet somebody that can help you, or someone of interest, something that you're wishing for manifests. And it may tie to property. And again, you're seeking greater peace, greater harmony, things fall into place. On the flip side, there's a lack of faith, some kind of rejection, some kind of issue or power struggle or lack of resource in connection to money or wealth. Now, why is this occurring?